Katie with Dashing Dish, and at Dashing Dish, I'm all about teaching you how to create healthy alternatives to the food you crave. Today, I'm going to teach you how to make a cheesy, delicious mac and cheese without as many calories, fat, and carbs. Now, I know what you're thinking, how is that possible? And if it is possible, count me out, because mac and cheese should be full, rich, fat food, right? But this actually, you won't even miss any of the cheesiness, because we're swapping a little bit of the cheese out with a secret ingredient. So here in the blender, we have butternut squash. And around Thanksgiving and the holidays, you might use it, pretty often in your recipes. But throughout the year, butternut squash can be found right in the frozen aisle, and it's just already pre-diced, so it takes all the work out for you. I always recommend using pre-diced butternut squash, because peeling a butternut squash, breaking it down, is a lot more work than really you need to do. So this is just frozen butternut squash that's pre-cubed. I used two 12-ounce packages, and again, it's just in the frozen aisle, and I steamed it. So it comes right in those steamer bags. So this is put in the blender. And this is a really quick and easy sauce. You don't have to make a roux and get out your pot. It just all goes in the blender. And then we have our pre-cooked noodles here that we're gonna pour it on top. So to this butternut squash, I'm gonna add another kind of secret ingredient that makes this rich and creamy without adding a lot of fat or calories, and that is Greek yogurt. And I love adding Greek yogurt to all of my sauces and cheesy fillings, because it adds that creamy texture without adding a lot more cheese or half and half or cream. So I'm going to add a half cup of Greek yogurt to that. Just kind of scoop that in there. And then I'm going to do Parmesan cheese. And Parmesan cheese is another ingredient that adds a lot of flavor without adding a lot of calories or fat. And it's one of my favorite cheeses to use, because again, it does pack a lot of flavor. And you don't have to use as much that way. So that's a half cup of Parmesan cheese. And then I'm gonna do just a teaspoon of salt and pepper. And adding seasoning is a great way to add flavor to our food as well, without adding a lot of calories in. And then garlic powder. And you could do different spins on this. So if you like maybe a little bit more of a spicy mac and cheese, you could do some chili powder or some paprika in there, whatever you like as far as seasoning goes. I like to keep it simple: salt, pepper, garlic powder, and that's really with all my recipes. I like to keep it really simple and just use some basic ingredients that you can find in your pantry. That way it takes all the guesswork out of healthy eating. So I added all of this to a blender, and I'm gonna give it a quick pulse. Oh, and we're gonna do a cup of almond milk too, just to help it blend up there. And you can use low-fat milk, whatever kind of milk you like. Almond milk is great because if you have a dairy intolerance, almond milk is a great swap out. But I also like it because it's only 30 calories per cup, whereas regular milk is about 120 calories per cup or more, depending on the percentage of milk that you get as far as milk fat. So that's a great way to save a lot of calories, and you won't miss it in the flavor. So I'm going to just pulse this. You just want to give it a quick pulse just till everything combines. I'm going to give this a quick stir as well. Kind of get things moving a little bit. And you can see it looks just like a cheesy sauce, so no one would even know that the butternut squash is in there. So just until it's smooth. Now you might be wondering, okay, I saw Parmesan cheese go in there, but where is cheddar cheese? That's what we need in a mac and cheese. Don't worry, there is cheddar cheese in this recipe, but only 1 cup. And traditional mac and cheese has anywhere from 2 to 3 cups of shredded cheese. And so this is really saving a lot right there by just adding 1 cup. And we're just gonna add it in just at the end. You don't wanna blend it up in there. The butternut squash is still warm, so it'll kind of melt as I stir it together. I'm going to add this right to the pasta noodles and stir everything up. Now I will say with the pasta, you might be thinking, I thought this was healthy eating. How is pasta healthy? Actually, there are so many great options when it comes to pasta these days. You can use quinoa-based pasta. You can use lentil-based pasta. There are just so many great options that really, you don't even need to buy a white flour or enriched flour pasta. So check the first few ingredients when it comes to the pasta and see, you know, what is this made with? Because sometimes even labels can be tricky and confusing. It can say, you know, healthy whole grain, and then the first ingredient is white flour. So instead, look for one that says quinoa as the first ingredient, or like I said, lentil. And that's great because then it adds protein, it adds fiber, and it's made with actually just dried lentils or dried quinoa, and they make a pasta out of it. And you know, there are so many that come just in penne or whatever shape pasta that you're looking for these days. So I would add the rest of this sauce and stir it up, and you can serve it just as is. The cheese, we would want it to be a little bit more melty, just so that shredded cheddar mixes up there good. But what I like to do is I like to put this right into a baking pan, and you can see here we added it to a 13×9 baking pan, and just bake it off for about 5 minutes, and the cheese gets nice and melted and golden brown on top, and it tastes just like a traditional baked mac and cheese. So there you have it, a healthier version of mac and cheese. If you'd like this recipe, head over to ctvn.org.